Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. How the hell you doing? It is a pleasure to have you here with us. My name is Alex VR, and I am joined here by my co-host, as always, Skiva. Dude, Skiva, how you doing, brother?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Been in VR a lot. You know, still coming down from the CES high. So, yeah,
high
fantastic.
and low, right?
Yeah, mostly the highs. You know, the only low was that little thing called COVID, but
right.
we got through it.
We did. Yeah, you know, we're back in the same room. See, look at us right here making physical contact. We did a remote episode while we were sick, but I think we're out of the woods at this point. So we're back in the same room, and you guys are back here with us as well. So thank you so much for being here and joining us, especially Mr. Paradise Decay, who moved his premiere forward so he didn't miss the show.
Thanks, P. Diddy. You're the best.
Everyone needs to have his level of dedication. Everybody move your schedules around, like change things to be here, because obviously this is the important thing to do on a random Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right?
Yes.
It's a random Wednesday. Between Realities, flying in hot. So thank you, PD, for being here. Mike Newton, good evening. Thanks for being here as well. D1360 VR.
What is up?
He is here. He or she is here.
Mm-hmm.
He, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. I shouldn't assume that.
Interesting combination of numbers and letters.
It is. Well, there's the D1 and then the 360 and then VR. So why don't you break down your name for us here in the chat, D1, 3, and give us something else to call you. Jansen Fox is here. What's up, dude? He's
What's
lurking.
up, Jansen?
He's working. He wants entertainment.
Real quick, if you guys like Population 1 and you want some really entertaining Population 1, head over on Twitch and subscribe to Jansen Fox, because he is hands down the funniest and best Population 1 streamer
He's a
that I
goofy
have
dude.
personally ever watched.
He's a goofy dude.
Yeah.
And we love him dearly.
Absolutely.
RobynzReality is also
What's up,
lurking and
Robin?
working. That's right. Lurking and working on a Wednesday with Between Realities. Duggars K is in early for once. That's right,
Hey
dude.
there.
Chroma Snare's here. Blizzado's here.
up?
Ooh, Smash Drums. Who do you
All
think that is? Is
right.
that Potom or is that...
That's Potom.
Is that
Let's get, yeah,
Choppa?
I'm sure it's Potom.
Is it? All right.
Yeah.
Well, we got Potom in the house, or Choppa, one of our
Yeah,
homies. We
one
got
of the two.
Arcanian. What's up, dude? We've got Joe to the future. Oh, Delirium Drew, gather around for a good good seat on the ship, VR nerds. Thank you, Delirium Drew, brother, for your continued support. We love you very much. Hussein X is here. Short Stack is here.
Short Stack. What's up, buddy?
You know, and probably some other people too. Like I said, you guys, get in early if you want to be a part of that, okay? So today is a bonus episode. It's a Wednesday. You know, we do these maybe about once a month, right? And it's typically when we've got someone joining us that we just like need to make sure we get on the show, right?
Yep, absolutely, man. You know, we could have pushed our guest here today off into another couple months out when we have an opening, but we just really want to talk to her. Amazing lady that is very prominent in the XR industry. One of the top women in XR, period.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just
and
super excited.
We're super stoked to have her on. So let's not waste any more time. Everybody, please welcome to
hold on, screen's coming down.
Between Realities, Joanna Popper from HP. Hello, Joanna Popper.
Hey
to
there.
be here. Hello.
Thank you for joining us here on
Yes.
Between Realities. I feel like we're among royalty right now. You know, it's like this is fantastic.
The award-winning Joanna Popper.
The award-winning.
Yes. Yeah, we actually, so during the VR Awards, which I'm sure you guys know all about in chat here, right? Because we were nominated for VR Influencers of the Year, and we screamed about it for a very long time. But Joanna was also a part of that and has a VR award right behind her there.
My microphone.
Like
It
she
just
actually
arrived. It just
Nice.
arrived.
she
So,
actually won the thing.
What is
So
that?
just first, let's just start with saying it's an honor just to be nominated. So let's say that, right? So
It really is. It really is.
yeah. So that's huge. That's huge that you all were nominated, and you know, every year is a new year. So
Heck yeah. And what exactly was it what was the title of the award that you won?
So we actually won a really exciting award for HP. We won VR Hardware of the Year, which is pretty phenomenal.
Wow.
We also were among some pretty great company. It was, I think, who else was in there? Vario, Quest 2.
Quest 2.
One of HTC Focus, Pico, et cetera, et cetera.
They beat them all.
You know, all the biggies. But yes, we actually took home the HP Reverb G2 Omnicept Edition took home the VR Hardware of the Year 2021. So we were thrilled to receive this from AIXR and the VR Awards.
Hell yeah. Especially because you were up against the Quest 2. Like,
right?
Holy crap. Like, that is a titan.
There's lots of great hardware out there.
There really is. Yep.
Lots of really interesting things happening in the VR world right now. So we were incredibly honored to be nominated, as you all were too. And then I was genuinely surprised when they called our name. My avatar, my purple hair avatar in Altspace was genuinely surprised. And,
And I gotta say, this was the very first VR awards that they attempted to do completely from the metaverse. So there were some technical difficulties. Overall, it went pretty smooth, at least from within VR. I know streaming had even more issues, right? But yeah. I remember Joanna accepting the reward, or the award, and she kept
I picked the rewards too, all the rewards.
Yeah, the rewards and the awards. And you kept getting beamed.
I need to get that reward.
You kept getting teleported to the back of the room, and then having to come back over into the stage and get re-teleported to the background. But you didn't miss a beat. You completely rocked it, and you did a fantastic job. And I just wanted to say props to you, because a lot of people would have just freaked out.
I felt like that was my Jennifer Lawrence moment, where I fell on stage at the Oscars, and the VR version of I fell on stage at the Oscars, and I stood up and tried to make a cute comment, or like Jennifer Lawrence. I don't know if I reached her levels, but I think it was user error that I went in incorrectly, and I didn't go through the code. I went in some other way, and therefore kept getting booted off the stage. So I'm not going to blame the awards, but I kept getting booted off the stage, and then kept coming back to continue to,
Well, either way, didn't skip a beat. You did a fantastic job, and it was super awesome to watch the performance.
Right.
So,
thank you.
Well,
I will say 100% of the award ceremonies in VR where I've won awards, there's been stuff like that happens. So
yeah, we're getting there. This is a brand new technology, the metaverse, and all of these different platforms like Altspace and VR chat and all of these. It's so new, right? And everyone's trying to figure out how to make these events happen with thousands of people.
Right. Well, and that's not the thing. It's the numbers thing. Like you can put 2,000 people into a chat room together, no problem. But to get them all in VR, to have it all synced up and looking good and feeling good, it's definitely a struggle. So, we're here for some of the early parts of it, right? I think Altspace is probably the platform that can support the most people at once, just dumping in, and obviously it still has its shortcomings. So hopefully we'll see something in the next few years that can kind of handle those big heavy loads, and we can throw some huge ass VR parties, with 100 people or 200 people or more, in the same server.
Yeah,
that'd be really nice. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean they can do that. You're just in different different instances. We actually did our announcement for the HP Reverb G2 in Altspace as well. The HP Reverb G2 is a collaboration with Microsoft, who owns Altspace, and Valve. And so we were in there with Alex Kipman from Microsoft and others. And we actually had large numbers of people attend that announcement. But you're all in there. Instances. So in any one instance, you only feel like I think at the time it was 25 per instance, because we had video files, and we actually had 3D versions of the Reverb G2, so that you could put it on your face and take a selfie with the avatar, and play with it and throw it around even. And so the capacity per instance, this was also pretty early in COVID. We made that announcement at the end of May of 2020, was pretty low. So you never felt like you were in there with a ton of people, but there were hundreds and thousands of people actually in all the different instances.
Yeah, I remember that. That was super epic. I actually had my avatar had an HP shirt on. There was a giant Reverb headset, and there were headsets everywhere. And this was pre their new avatar update as well. Ones. So it was right before they upgraded the avatar system, and it was great. I mean, I felt like I was at a legit actual HP event. But everyone was cartoony looking.
Right. Well, and
really cool.
all of the happened at an HP event too. So
and instances are a good way to
Yeah, but I'm glad you were able to come, and I'm glad that you were able to enjoy it.
It was awesome. It was great.
Those instances are definitely the way to make it happen right now, to be able to accommodate large numbers. But of course, it would be amazing to reduce those.
Yeah.
You know, like
we'll definitely get there, man.
Of course,
everyone's working on
I
it.
think the numbers have already gone up since that event. I think it's like, I don't want to quote the numbers because I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think they've gone up quite a bit since then. But yeah, I mean, the main thing about the VR Awards and why we were so excited about it was, the HP Reverb G2 Omnicept edition is built entirely, for and with the developers and the community in mind. We bring the hardware, we bring the software, the SDK package, and then it's there for developers and enterprise to build on top of. And so we were really thrilled that the headset was honored as being a very smart, intelligent headset with lots of interesting sensors that the developers can then use to build their exciting applications and build things for different parts of the community. And so that was what got us most excited. That we won sort of on behalf of all of the VR devs who are creating really cool content. And then all the team that has been working on it throughout the pandemic to bring hardware to life, hardware and software to life.
And I think that's a pretty important perspective to bring to this conversation, right? Because my initial reaction, right, was when about the Omnicept, taking that, I was like, yeah, and you're up against the Quest 2. But I'm saying this from a consumer's perspective, right? Like, this is someone who is a gamer who for I don't know, the masses, so to speak, right? But the VR Awards are obviously looking at more angles than just the consumer perspective when they're making this decision as to who's going to take the crown for best VR hardware. Am I right?
Well, I wasn't on the jury, so I for that one I was, but I think what we would put forth, and we into the ecosystem as well as like in as part of the nomination process, was just the newness, the innovation that went into the headset. It takes something that can be just used as a display and creates the ability to be two-way. So because of the eye tracking, pupillometry, heart rate tracking, and face camera, you're then able to not just send information to somebody to view, but also you understand their experience in the headset. So see how the experience is landing on them. And then with the software package we have, the SDK of cognitive load, you're able to understand where are they in the Goldilocks curve of understanding the information that's being offered and then going on to retain it. And so that combination of the algorithm that was built, sort of taking some of the best that's to offer an XR plus AI and machine learning, I believe is why the headset was selected, and I think that this headset is also kind of where the path is going.
And maybe
Some of the things that are in this headset are right now as a combination are only in this headset, but that is where a lot of VR and our industry is heading.
It is. And maybe we should bring it back a step here first and just real quickly go over the original HP Reverb G2, not the Omnicept edition, and kind of explain to people what this Omnicept edition is, right? So the original, the consumer standard version of the G2 is a pretty amazing headset in and of itself, right? It's got some of the highest resolution in any headset on the market right now at 2160 times 2160 per eye. That's 4K per eye. Huge, clear visuals, right? That you don't see anywhere else. Right. It runs at 90 hertz. It has 114 degree field of view, and it's pretty light. It's like 1.2 pounds or 0.5 kilograms. Right. So it's an amazing headset, and you can buy it right now. Anyone can own this and have absolutely crisp, amazing, clear VR experience. And I have a lot of friends that this is their primary headset, right? And they love this headset. This also, I want to bring to the people's attention that this has the same speaker system, right, as the Valve Index, which is an off-ear speaker system that is, my daily driver is typically the Index. I mean, I kind of switch between a bunch of headsets, right? But the sound wow, right? Never touches your ears, but you get some of the best, clearest, most bass responsive sound and full 360 audio, right, that I've ever personally heard. And I think it's one of the main selling points of this headset, because vision is only part of it, and you get full 4K vision on this thing, right? Plus the amazing audio. So I just wanted to kind of bring it back and kind of just share a little bit about this headset. And also, I believe you have the same back strap, the same strap as the Index as well, which makes it extremely comfortable.
That's on the OmniStept has that back strap.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I mean, you bring up a lot of the key reasons that people love the HP Reverb G2, and as you said, that's been in market for especially till about the end of last year. We came to market with that headset, and you mentioned a lot of the things that we do with Valve. So it's worth underlining again that it's a partnership between HP, Valve, and Microsoft, and we each came to the table with what were we best at. So Valve has been out there with pioneering frontier tech and has touched the majority of many of the early best headsets that are out there. Like their technology was key and integral to most of those headsets. So we have that from Valve. Specifically, they helped with the lenses. They also helped with the audio side. And then we worked with Microsoft. Has the best the first 6DoF inside out tracking with WinMR. And so it's built on top of that platform. And then with HP, we have strong hardware business, and burgeoning software business, and as well as both on the consumer side. We have our Omen brand for gaming. We have HyperX, and then we also have a really strong commercial business and commercial XR strategy.
Sweet.
Awesome.
So
worldwide, pretty much worldwide coverage. Also on the Reverb G2, we recently announced a refresh of the headset. There are a couple things that we wanted to tweak, and so we've made a tweak on the cable. We've made a tweak on the camera rotation, and we made a tweak on the gasket on the for field of view. All just with the desire to keep improving upon the headset, and continue to make something better for our audiences. And so we had originally announced that was available in the U.S. It's now pretty widely available. Australia, UK, Scandinavian countries, lots Japan. I could go on and on. Lots and lots of countries. It's been rolled out in at this point, and we'll be making a more somewhat of more robust announcement on what all those different countries are. But at this point, you can get it pretty much everywhere.
Cool. Awesome. So we lost
nearly everywhere is probably better said.
So I think we lost your video there, but we can still hear you.
I'm trying.
So Joanna disappeared here for a second. I'm sure we'll get her back in just a moment here. Yeah, but this is a really cool headset that I can't personally wait to get my hands on.
Well, and we were just chatting with Joanna right before the show, and it sounds like maybe we will get our hands on one to try here at the Between Reality Studios. So.
Yeah, I would love to try it and kind of review it a little bit, and put it through its paces, and play things like Half-Life Alyx and things on such an amazing screen. Well,
my next question for Joanna is going to be based off of anecdotal evidence, so it would of course be great to have firsthand evidence of my own experiences to kind of draw from to answer some questions. But there's stuff that I've heard about the HP Reverb G2 that I would like to get her take on when we get her back.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely lots of questions, lots of stuff to go over. And hopefully we will be able to get her back here in a moment. Maybe we can head over to chat here and I will recall her.
You think her phone died?
That's possible. Or she go, oh, wait a minute. I think she's on her way back in here. I can't hear you.
No?
Oh, now I can hear
she's
you.
Back.
Can you hear me? Can you? All right.
Yep. You are sideways though. Kind of like.
Am I okay now or no?
You're up, but you're not your vertical self there, or your horizontal. There we go.
Boom.
There we go. Woo.
I'm sideways still.
All right. No, you're good now. You're perfect.
I know. I'm looking at the YouTube. I'm sideways.
Oh wait, yeah. This is like a 20-second delay. Yep. So, well, thanks. Welcome back.
So somebody started blowing you up. Super important business call coming in, something like that. Your phone died. What happened?
No, you know what? Well, I'll tell you what happened is I guess I have like a limited time on social media every day. I have one of those limits. And so that limit popped up and kicked me out.
Oh, that's smart. That's a smart thing to do.
I didn't
So what's your daily Twitter limit? How long do you give yourself on Twitter every day?
Well, I do it for all the platforms, so that's why I got it. So it's like Twitter, Insta, Facebook. But it includes Discord and WhatsApp in there too.
Oh, gotcha. Wow, that's smart.
I don't know if I'm going to reveal numbers. Does a lady tell numbers? I don't know.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. You don't have to.
I will tell you that I spend entirely too much time on Twitter.
Do you do a limit though?
I don't.
You don't do it on your phone?
So I look at Twitter. It's a very powerful networking tool, right? And I really like to engage with people and constantly build those relationships. And I just, I'm just a
But
Twitter
how strict are you to yourself, right? Like when that thing comes up and you're like halfway through a post, like you're gonna throw it away and kind of finish up what you're doing, right? Like, or is that it? Is it like pull the plug?
I'm not strict. I believe in moderation in all things.
Nice.
That's cool. That's cool. So we were talking about these partnerships.
It's like a suggestion. Like
Yes.
maybe it's been too much.
Or a
Maybe
reminder,
go do something.
right?
Maybe go take a hike. Like.
That is good because sometimes when you just get into it, so much time can go by, and if there's nothing there to tell you, then you have no idea how much time you're spending on there.
Yeah.
So that's a really, really good idea.
I would actually like it for Facebook just because Facebook pulls me in and like I will lose 30-40 minutes on Facebook.
See, I can't even.
And it sucks.
Can't look
And
at
it
Facebook.
sucks the whole time. Like every bit of it sucks. It's like 30 or 40 minutes of bullshit. And then I'm like, wait a second, why am I on Facebook right now? Like I should not. I'll switch over to a better social platform and waste time. I don't want to waste time there.
I can't do it. But,
All right, so let's pull it back to the G2. All right,
Yeah.
because I have some questions, and they're all anecdotal, which we were mentioning maybe will be changed here in the future if we have a chance to get our hands on a G2. But kind of like the overall like vibe that I get from people who have spent time with the G2 is that if you are into stuff like simulators, like flight sims or racing games, stuff like that has like peripherals that are like locked and like basically like burned into the experience, that the headset, because of its visuals and clarity and all of that, is probably your best bet. But I have heard other people say that if you're like an active VR gamer and you really rely on tracking and stuff, that there are better options for you out there as a consumer. Do you have any response to people who kind of walk away with that perspective of the G2?
Especially before trying it, right?
Yeah. So I think a couple of things. I think, there are lots of different use cases, as you mentioned, and there's lots of different headsets out there. So certain headsets are going to be better for some people, other headsets are going to be better for others. I do think that it's very personal. And so each of us are probably out there trying to look at, where do we see the largest audience for what we're able to bring to market at a specific time? And so we, on the tracking, there's a couple of improvements that we've made since the headset originally launched, and one of those was to shift the camera rotation in the headset. That's what we announced just a couple months ago in the fall. So definitely recommend, if somebody has not tried the refreshed version of the headset, that they get their hands on it. And just before we started, we were chatting about it. You had not gotten a chance to try it, so I'll make sure to get one over to you so that you can do that. Your friend Thrill just did like a whole review with the refreshed version, and he called it something like like a bargain Vario or something like
that's
a really
exactly what he said. Yeah,
Vario, that it was kind of like if you wanted to spend a quarter of the money, but you'd still got a lot of the best things of it. So that was an interesting take on it, I thought.
Yeah, I would take that.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty
take.
accurate. Yeah,
That's a decent take.
Yeah. And there is something interesting there where you talk about the Microsoft partnership and we talk about some of the tracking stuff, right? I think we may have lost her again there due to her.
She didn't want to answer that question.
No. Oh man, that's funny. I guess I'm not going to ask you the question, Alex. So we'll just wait here for a minute. Okay, here we go. We are back again. So
welcome back.
So real quick, so we got the Windows partnership, right? And we talked about the tracking a bit here. And one of the things that we should mention is that there have been a lot of different Windows mixed reality headsets in the past, right? People have jumped in from Acer to Lenovo to Asus to Samsung, and all have brought their take to this headset. But when HP got involved, right, they took the standard 2-camera setup and they said, no, this isn't good enough, and made it 4 cameras for tracking, right? Which is really, really cool. What's it like to approach Microsoft on one of their standards and attempt to make their solution better and bring it to market? Was it difficult, or did you get a good response from them? Oh, I think we lost her again.
Yeah, looks like it.
Oh, do we still have our audio? I think we might. Nope.
Maybe we should like do a fresh call.
Are you back?
Oh, we're back.
Yes.
Yay! All right.
Okay. Did you hear any of that question by chance?
No,
okay.
I was on video, but I had lost sound. That's why I left.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So real quick, I'm just going to recap it real quick.
I turned off my moderation, so I shouldn't get kicked out anymore.
Oh, good. Awesome. Thank you.
More social media for you.
So I just went through a long-winded question, so I'm going to attempt to bring this down into a condensed version to not...
You're wasting my time right now. Ask the question. All right?
so we got 2 cameras that are typically on a Windows mixed reality headset, but you guys went to Microsoft and you said, "Nah, this isn't going to cut it. We need 4 cameras to best make our this headset work with the tracking." What was it like to go to Microsoft and get improve upon their original reference design for Windows mixed reality?
Well, I would say they're great partners. You know, we've now done four different headsets with them, and you can they've done lots of really interesting things in the space. You saw and in the overall gaming space too, right? You saw their big announcement yesterday with Activision Blizzard as well. And so I would say all of these companies have people who deeply believe in this industry, who deeply believe in the future of this technology, and want to keep making it better, and want to keep improving upon it, and like creating amazing products for all of the audiences. And so that's what I would say. So we all come together to partner and work together really well, and just want to keep releasing great products that people are going to enjoy.
Joanna, you've been in the industry.
It moves really fast, and hardware doesn't always move quite as fast as we want it to, right? So
you can say that again.
I think we always wish that everything was even further along than it is, and all of our teams are working on doing that behind the scenes. But when we released this headset, we were really proud of it and really excited about it, and it certainly has been the most commercially successful headset that we've had thus far.
Nice. Congrats on that. And
yeah.
you have been in the tech industry for quite a while. You've had an opportunity to see a lot of this stuff grow and be a part of a lot of this stuff as it's been growing over the years. And I am kind of curious, first of all, do you love VR? Because we love VR. Like, do you also love it? I assume you do.
I do. But just one more thing I wanted to say, because you asked a specific Microsoft question, and I know there's always a lot of different points of view and opinions on WinMR particularly. And they all when we announced some of the improvements that we were making in the HP Reverb G2, they also announced a couple of improvements they were making on the WinMR home as well. So they did I think they call it the Infinite Expanse. So the environment now is built for better performance. They also made it so it's easier to jump right into Steam VR. And so you can just, move to like more of a one-click to get into your favorite games, and then you can also customize the Winnemar like homepage or Cliff House or startup experience. And so they're continuing to make improvements as well, like listening to what people are saying, and making some of those software improvements for performance, for overall better experience. So just also wanted to give. I know that that's something that hasn't been super widely publicized, so I wanted to make sure to give credit for that.
Yeah, and I've always really liked the Windows Cliff House experience. I've always thought it was super awesome. I mean, you get to kind of customize this amazing home that kind of overlooks the cliff. And I haven't seen the new Expanse version yet, but I've always thought it was amazing. I throw things all over the walls and have giant screens playing videos, and it's really cool.
Do you think we should be paying attention at all to this Activision Blizzard acquisition from Microsoft and the VR community? Do you think that's important for us right now, or do you think that's kind of off in the distance?
Well, I suppose if you like pancake games and you should be paying attention. I mean, I obviously don't have any additional information, or would I,
Yeah, fair enough. We're just on the topic of Microsoft. That's the biggest gaming news like maybe ever
in
the industry.
Man. That's a lot of it's a lot of big IPs that are now under their belt.
A lot of huge IP. I think a lot of the press was portraying it as a big metaverse play, because of World of Warcraft. I also think it shows the power of the IP, the power of brands. You have a lot of IP all within the Microsoft house. I also think it, as somebody who cares a lot about the culture of our industry and the culture of companies, I think it also tells a tale about that as well. What caused Activision to be in a place that they were, able to be picked up by Microsoft. And so for those of you out there building companies, working in companies, creating cultures, I think it also underlines the importance of creating a culture of inclusion, of belonging, of inclusivity, and of safety and, personal safety.
So what are your thoughts on like how loosely people are throwing around the word metaverse? Like, did you have your own definition for metaverse before Zuckerberg came in and made one? Or because like, and frankly, it's like I feel like when he presented the metaverse at his Meta Connect, he tried to like explain it in a way that like everyone would understand. And I think the biggest takeaway was, it's online video games or it's online communities, but we'll just be there even more, but I feel like now it's kind of just being used this like hot button word where people are just throwing it in wherever they can. Like, here's a metaverse play. There's a metaverse play. Like, what are your feelings, Joanna, on the use of the term metaverse right now? Like, do you think it's being used accurately? Do you feel like it's a good thing? It's a bad thing? Do you have any thoughts?
I would say, so there's a lot of questions there.
Yes, it is.
So was I using the term prior to, I guess it was August when the announcement, or no, September probably, right? I think it's at their Connect,
September
I
or
guess.
October,
so
yeah.
Probably September.
Yep.
So yes, I was using it before. We have a show on, or we did have a show. We still have a show on Clubhouse. It's called Extending Reality, and it's a weekly XR show. We started it about a year and a half ago, pretty early in the Clubhouse days. And one of the things that we did, that's with Amy Lemire from WXR Fund, and Maddie Callender from Boost XR. So those two are VCs, and then Kathy Hackle, who's been in a number of different tech companies, and is also, now works at a volumetric capture stage and is diving into NFTs and other areas. And so with her, and then Nicole Lazaro, and who's like pretty OG in the gaming world, as well as VR, and then JT. And probably more than a year ago, we did a number of different series like CEOs of the Metaverse. Some of those spun off. Some of those interviews that Kathy did spun off from our group, but we hosted some of them in our Extending Reality group. We also did interviews with various AIs like Cookie. So it was certainly a term that we were using and kicking around. I think our industry has struggled a bit with how to best define ourselves in a way that is meaningful to the enthusiasts and those working in the industry, as well as really connects with audiences. And so, there's been sort of marketing, like in a way, it's like a struggle over how we're marketing ourselves or branding ourselves externally, just to use that term sort of lightly. But from everything from what does XR mean? What does mixed reality mean? What does spatial computing? Each company seems to want to come in with their own term, and not which probably doesn't help the overall audiences to understand what were happening. And then and on the flip side, or the irony of that, the products that where the terminology is like not even relevant are the ones that have found been able to find mass audience. So if you think about something like Snapchat with the rainbow filters, people aren't arguing, rainbow vomit. Like, people aren't arguing about whether or not is that, or less so about like, is that AR? Somebody's just having fun with their rainbow vomit, or somebody's just having fun with their dog ears, or, what would I look like if I were a man? Like those types of things, or Pokemon Go, right? Which is sort of known as like also like a light AR version, or an augmented reality map of the world. That those conversations aren't had there as much. So I think it's an interesting juxtaposition that I think, and so I would say overall, bringing Metaverse to the broader party, at the level of a company like, one of the biggest companies in the world, like Facebook, and taking that huge step to rebrand the whole company is interesting, and brought a lot of energy to the industry, a lot of investment to the industry, and a lot of focus. So for those who are out there at startups, or raising capital, or looking for partnerships, I would say it's probably a plus. To keep bringing like lots of energy, and to bring additional eyeballs to the space. Now, there's also a lot of confusion about what does it really mean, and are we there yet? But if you think back to when sort of did like earlier .com movements, or like digital, and like where did it live, and what was part of it, and what was what was in it and what wasn't, and what was it for, and thinking about how if somebody had told you in 2002, or 2005 even, all the things you would do with your mobile phone, you may not have believed it, right? Like you may not have believed, or even back, you might not have believed that you would like get all your groceries and get all of your get transportation, and connect with your friends, and watch most of your media, and maybe meet your like significant other. Like, would you have thought that that's and get your weather and news, and which I don't know if I said news twice, but all of that and more. And you're gaming from a mobile phone in many cases. And so I believe that we're, as most of us do who work in this industry, we're at another touch point like that, where all of these things that we do in the internet, plus so many more, will happen within this industry. And so I believe that that XR is the future of computing, and then the metaverse kind of takes it out even broader and brings in spatial computing, virtual worlds, gaming engines, blockchain, payments, NFTs. But overall, I see it as it's how we'll connect, collaborate, communicate, create, and do commerce in the future inside the metaverse. Will we still call it the metaverse? TBD, right? There's a lot of things we called like the sort of digital space, or World Wide Web.
World Wide Web was what I was going to say.
What?
So World Wide Web is what I was going to say, and because I feel like
we don't really say that anymore, unless you're saying it ironically.
Well,
I think.
And I think a lot of people took World Wide Web and they would just like put that on the side of their van for their painting company, well, look, we got your World Wide Web right here, and now like we went to CES and Metaverse is just like in every booth, and like
I'm sure you saw Nima's thread, right?
Yes, I did. Exactly. And it's just like, yeah, we got your metaverse here, $20 a gram, it's like no one is even using the word metaverse like in it from like with your perspective. You know, they're using it oftentimes from a completely limited perspective of just what they've managed to gather through the memes that they see on the internet when they after Horizon or after Facebook Connect or whatever it's called.
So
I think the important shifts are taking 2D to 3D, and having a lot of these, I just mentioned like connection, community creation, taking most of that to 3D, which is more compelling, it's more engaging. There's study after study. PwC is one of the great studies on that. But how much more engaged we are when we interact with something in 3D, how much more we retain when we interact with something in 3D. So making that move to 3D is a big one. And then the other one, that people are talking about a lot was like, Web 1.0 was around information, Web 2.0 was around connecting people and platforms and communities, and then Web 3 is around, connecting us, like sort of merging that digital and physical in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I am a huge believer in the metaverse, as broad of a term as that is right now. But I spend a lot of time in Neos, right? Neos is a metaverse application, and it runs off the PC. It's a very beefy one, but anything is possible in Neos, and I absolutely love it with all my heart. And I wanted to mention real quick, since we're on this term of metaverse and all the money being dumped in there, is every year. Actually, I think a couple times a year, they do what's called the MMC, which is the Metaverse Makers Competition. And they have a creator jam within Neos, right? And you go in with your friends and you collaboratively build worlds and avatars and toys and all kinds of things and tools for people to use. And this year's prize for that is $300,000 in Neos credits.
Yeah, but so it's
wow.
It's $300,000 worth of NCR.
Correct, which you can cash out that day into USD if you so see fit. Right? Can you imagine you build?
That's pretty sick.
Isn't that so we're talking about investment and just people generally putting money into this, and we have 300 grand in probably the least well-known metaverse application that there is, also my favorite and I believe the most powerful. But man,
and
I mean,
Neos
that just really
Ethereum.
just floored me. It's built off the Ethereum
they were
blockchain.
like one of the crypto, that went up. I think I saw something like maybe 3 weeks ago that they had like a pretty skyrocketed.
Yeah. It went through the roof for a minute there. It came back down and has leveled out quite a bit.
It went through the
then.
roof just long enough for me to buy it.
Yeah, and then went.
And then boop, back to where.
So if you ever want to invest in crypto, wait for Alex, and then the price will go down.
You should do it now, actually. I just saw it's like.
Let's do the barometer, right?
Yeah.
It is low.
Have you done the Meta movie?
Oh, yeah, we did the Meta movie.
I love the Meta movie.
Yep.
I loved it. I loved it.
Amazing.
It
Absolutely
blew my
amazing.
mind.
That to me is the
Definitely
future of
recommend that
theater.
for anyone out there who hasn't done it. I think they continue to do performances. It originally launched at, I think, Venice 2020, I want to say, or maybe Sundance. I'm trying to remember.
It was one of the two. Yeah, me and Alex participated in it during the Rain Dance Film Festival time.
Cool.
But it was absolutely amazing.
So I would love to get some more intimate thoughts on that from you, Joanna, because I feel like you kind of have your finger on the pulse of like immersive storytelling right now, don't you?
Finger on the pulse. Yeah. So, in a couple of different ways. So one, at HP, we have been working with immersive storytellers. I've been at HP about 4 years now, and was working with them. I come from a television background as well as a tech background, so worked with content creators and storytellers and in all types of industries. But since I've been at HP, we have been supporting a lot of the biggest content creators and storytellers on the immersive side at every festival, at every big show, and so for any Sundance, South by Cannes, Venice, etc., Sandbox, in China, we're usually there working with, supporting, with technology, a ton of the big content creators, whether that's, like within before they were doing Supernatural or Baobab or Double I Studios or Atlas 5, we've always tried to set, and I'm trying to list, and there's like so many different ones that we've worked with. But so we've always done that, and tried to be really great partners, backlights, and really great partners to the storytellers and the content creators, because we know that they're the ones pushing the medium to the next level, and continuing to build, and we get great feedback from them, and we see what's there. Both the content creators in that way, as well as like location-based entertainment players and all of the other enterprise and education applications. And then there's some particular projects that we've partnered with or sponsored in a much bigger way. We worked really closely with Springbok and the 100% team at Tribeca, which won the Tribeca X Award in 2019, and then we supported Double I Studios and Kira Benzing with a number of projects, including Love Seat and in running in a way. And then we came in big with Finding Pandora X, which was live, interactive, immersive, live actor experience in VR chat. So they built out a whole Mount Olympus, which is an ancient Greek storytelling, tale told in a current environment, because it's in VR chat. We have live Broadway actors there. It premiered for the first time at Venice 2020. So if you remember, Broadway was dark. The actors, the best way that they could have an audience and be on stage and interact with people was in VR chat. And so it was an awesome opportunity for actors to learn new skills and have a way to keep creating all the worlds of stage. And so we supported them with our headsets and with computers. And so it was really cool, that the actors learn how to use their body and their voices in new ways as avatars, and work with the technology. And so I came in as an executive producer, and HP was a supporter. And so that project actually won Venice 2020. And then went on to premiere also at South by and won the audience award at South by as well. And so I learned so much from that experience. The team learned so much. There was, Kira Benzing and Double I Studios are amazing. The way it's a full production. They have inside VR chat, they have lighting, they have music cues, they have stage management, they have actors. It's really a full, robust production. So if you haven't had a chance to see Finding Pandora X, definitely follow Double I Studios, and they've continued to do public showings of it since then.
Yeah, we actually hung out with a couple of the people that worked on this, a couple of the actors at LA Comic-Con.
Deirdre and Steven at CES?
Yeah. Well, not at CES, but at LA Comic-Con. Was that
in
their
LA.
name?
Oh, yeah, they were at LA Comic-Con,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we hung out with them one night at a bar, and we talked about it for hours.
Yeah, we were talking about this.
They're great. They're great. Deirdre plays one of the actors. And then they took that experience and everything they learned with Double I Studios and Kira, and then they went on and produced, they produced Respite. So it's also really cool to see, how, Kira already in Venice 2019 already had this vision of bringing live actors and VR to a film festival. So she brought live actors to Venice in 2019, and then had a version that you could view on what was then the version of High Fidelity, the VR version of High Fidelity, before they pivoted to become an audio app. And so that was probably one of the first time that you could, be at Venice, take the boat to the island, and then be in Venice and watch the actors live and experience it live, or be anywhere around the world in high fidelity and experience it. And so that was before COVID, before we knew about the pandemic. We brought in like 14 HP backpacks VR backpacks for her, and all these headsets for her to use. And then, so she and her team had that experience that they then continued to build on during the pandemic. So they already kind of knew how to do everything remote, how to work with actors in different places around the world, which was really cool. So, and then what's great about that is that some of her actors now have gone on to produce their own pieces, which is beautiful. And it's like how the industry continues to grow and innovate and challenge each other, and build on top of what and learn from each other, and continue to build amazing creative pieces.
So what was your experience like trying some of these for the first time? You know, because I've spoken on our show at length about my meta movie experience, and the shortest way I can say it is that it felt like I was lucid dreaming in multiple moments while I was in there. I was really blown away, and I personally feel like I saw a glimpse into the future of the way people will be interacting with media in the future. What was going through your head when you got to do some of these things?
For me, it's about flow state. You know, for me, VR in the like most sort of like, like fundamental way puts me in a flow state. And so that's one of the reasons that I was always really excited about location-based entertainment too, is that, particularly, when I started in this industry, I very much believe that the way that most people would have their best experience in VR was going to be going to a location-based entertainment venue, having somebody else set up the technology for you, have someone else curate and figure out what the best content to be, and to be in that experience live with family or friends and have those like adrenaline moments and beautiful moments together. And we've come a long way since then. But some of those experiences like Dreamscape and Zero Latency and what was then Nomadic and Spaces and Void, and what today we still have Sandbox, and we have So Real, and we have Vex and Vertigo, so many other VR Arsenal, and we have VR Studios. There are just so many of them that just bring you into this beautiful experience. And for me, it's very much about flow state. And the storytelling, whether it's LBE or whether it's at a festival, it's the story. That's what I see that VR does. It puts you inside the story in such a deep way. It gives you that level of interactivity, of immersion, of presence that you can't have in many other stories.
I'm kind of curious, like, how your relationship with VR started. Like, was it, did someone at work say, hey, we're going to throw you onto this VR team, learn what it is and go figure it out? Or were you putting on headsets for fun before you got involved with it professionally?
So I first my first experience in VR and AR was 2014. I went to or first experience like in headset, let's say it that way.
Sure.
Like first experience in headset. I was working at NBCU, and our agency invited us. We had a one-day workshop with our agency, and some of the things that they were showing us all sorts of new things. And one of the things they showed us, was an Oculus headset and a Google Glass. So those are my first experiences. My first actual VR experience was a roller coaster, like many other people.
Oh. Bummer.
So I did not immediately run from the roller coaster to I have to work in this.
Right. Right.
But I ended up working at a company I left NBC about a year after that and worked at a company in the Bay that was all about training leaders on the future of science, tech, innovation. So all about training leaders on AI, VR, blockchain, digital biology and more. And so there had exposure to a lot of the really interesting companies at that time. It was like, we would bring Within, or we would bring, I think they were called Verses at the time, or Jaunt, and many others, and bring Embodied Labs came, who is a really great company in the healthcare space, and just got a lot of exposure to some of the really, really cool content. And very soon after that, realized that intersection between media and tech, using new and innovative tech to tell stories in a new and different way, was what I wanted to be doing. And so, really soon after that, ended up working at HP.
And I've noticed too that you happen to be like one of the most vocal and supportive people in our community when it comes to helping others get started in the XR space. Like, you are like the first one when I see a job opening come up or something, you're like throwing it on your Twitter for your community, like trying to pull your people into the space. And I think that's admirable. I think it's nice to kind of try to pull people into our space and kind of show them that there's opportunities to become involved.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I believe deeply in what we're doing. I believe deeply whatever you want to call it, right? Because we had that conversation, but I saw some of the people's chats on YouTube about it, but that we are building the way that we will connect, communicate, create, collaborate. I said this earlier, but like we are building that right now, and I also believe that in some of the earlier waves, there were some mistakes made about how we approached. How the industry was, how the technology was approached, how some of the storytelling or some of the connections are created. And I do believe at some level that some of that was caused by having limited experiences in the room when things were being built. And so I believe that it's important, that there are few forces in this world as powerful as storytelling and media and technology. And I believe that how each of us see the world, how each of us see our own place in the world, and really see ourselves and our peers and those around us is deeply impacted by technology and deeply impacted by media content. And so I believe that it's really important that all of us, become part of building that out together, and so that it becomes the best representation of the best that we all have to offer.
That's beautiful.
Good answer, because community really is everything, right? You get the more minds you put on something, the better and bigger and more amazing it becomes. So I love that answer. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How are you doing, Steve?
Yeah, and so I think you're referring specifically. There's a hashtag XR Jobs.
Yeah,
and that I started. I saw there were a bunch of posts I had seen that said something like, unless you are a white man who went to Harvard and lives in New York, San Francisco, or LA, you can't get a job in VR. Which bummed me out. Like, I think it's great for the white men that went to Harvard that live in LA, San Francisco, and New York work in VR. I think that's fantastic. Like, it's great that they work in VR too. It's great but it bummed me out that it seemed like there was a lot of people feeling like unless they were that exact persona, they weren't going to get a job. As I said, it's great that those people have jobs, but also I want all of us to have opportunities. And so, I did a number of different, events and like Zoom events and Twitter. What do you call it? What do you call those things? Like AMAs, Twitter AMAs, and brought in a whole bunch of different people with different experiences around how they got started, how they got to where they are today. People who are devs, who are designers, who are engineers, who are artists, but also people who work in finance or legal or, or marketing or some, just to also show that it's not only one skill set that's needed in this industry, that there's a lot of different skill sets that are needed. And I think there's sometimes some friction between different elements of the industry. But I believe that it's important to have all the different voices represented, and that to show people that, if this is something they want to do, that they can get in, that there are avenues, there are people that want to help them, and that there's lots of different ways to work in XR.
Steve and I have been leaning into pure passion. That is all. Yeah. That is what we have, and it has provided opportunities for us. It has. It's crazy.
Now we do work in the field, and we are white men. For sure. We do not live in San Francisco or anywhere. We didn't go to
Harvard.
We definitely didn't go to Harvard. But I do.
I want to be really clear. I'm not making a negative comment about somebody in that profile. It was just more this impression of that other people were feeling like unless they were specifically that, absolutely have nothing against anyone with that profile. That I'm not excluding. I'm not trying to exclude them in any way.
That's good because our whole audience is built out of white men who went to Harvard, or live in LA and New York. So I'm glad you cleared that up.
And I personally know a lot of women in VR, right? That work pretty high up there too. So we got, as an industry, we're growing and more people are getting interested in virtual reality, and they're seeing the light and how this is going to change everything. In my opinion, it's going to change everything. So we have a lot more diverse, subset of people that are starting to dive in and really work in VR and make it what it is right now.
It's all different, right? It's like intersectional, and it's we have people in this industry who were therapists because they're working on the healthcare side, or who are ER doctors, and so I think that's to me what's important. That people see that there's place for them here, like that there's really like that see it be it. There's really place for everybody, and this is a growing industry, right? We're growing really, really fast, and so there's a couple things that come from that. That means that there's lots of opportunity. That means that each of us needs to grow ourselves. So whoever you were doing your job a year ago is probably not who you need to be to do your job a year from now. I think on my team we say the CAGR is like over 40% a year of the over, like that's like an IDC or someone's prediction for like 5 years. And so like as individuals, are we growing ourselves like over 40% every year? And so thinking about like what is our own personal learning development, and how are we stepping into different moments to bring us that. So I think that's something that's interesting in this industry. And then the other thing is, if you think about it, like nobody, you were just talking about passion. Nobody's in this industry like, oh, I've been doing it 30 years. Like I'm just here because like I get a great paycheck. Like that's not the vibe of our industry, right? These are people who are dreamers. These are people who are like seeing big visions. These are people who are like idealists in some ways. We're all working to make it a real industry more than like a cottage industry or a niche industry. We're all working to do that. But a lot of us are here because we see something more, and we see where the future is going. And so it is really fun and really amazing and really hard and really challenging to work at that intersection of all of that.
Do you ever entertain any of the theories that we're kind of walking into a dystopian future as a result of what our industry is doing and the players that are involved?
That's a good question. Thinking about how to best answer your question. I would like to think that we are taking steps to walk into a utopia.
Me too.
That we have a lot of really intelligent, aware, responsible, mature people making big decisions, that it will have big impacts on us, and that they're thinking broadly. I mean, I know you just had Kent Bai on. I don't know if you've had Kavya Perlman or there's Avi. There's just like a lot of people bringing deep thought to this space. That's something that just to go back to some of our product decisions and our thoughts. We're very focused on OpenXR. We're very focused on sort of like creating open ecosystems. And we're very focused on privacy. That was a core tenet when we built the Omnicept. We worked with Jeremy Bailenson at Stanford, who is known, as being like one of the key people who's like foundationally working on security and privacy within VR and XR. And so we brought him in from the very, very beginning with our labs team to help construct what we were doing. And for us, as a company that works with Fortune 100s and governments and all over the world, having that as a core tenet in what we're building is really important. So I can only speak for like specifically what our company is doing, and specifically partners we work with. But my hope and goal and desire is that we'll continue to improve upon people's life experiences and improve. We see XR as a way to make people's human experiences even better.
Me too, for the record. A lot of people really find it easy to imagine a dystopian future where we have no privacy, we don't own ourselves, and companies know us better than we know ourselves, which I easily can also do. But I will ultimately always end up kind of falling into this like optimistic perspective, like I really do think that, I don't know, how do I say this? I really do think that, darkness thrives in the void, but will always yield to purified light, to quote one of my favorite shows, Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's like there's a lot of evil that can be run that will run rampant, and it's kind of like the duality of existence in a lot of ways. But good, purified intention, like the darkness has to yield to that, you know, and I try to maintain that, you know, and I try to like be a lighthouse for positive vibes when it comes to this conversation if I can. Of course, it is a really important conversation to have, and it's also important to not exactly turn a blind eye to some of the realities of these things. But at the end of the day, I really do try to remain optimistic. I think that these things are good.
That's just it, right? Being positive about the technology that we love and the companies that are attempting to bring this to us, but also making sure that those conversations are happening. They're happening broadly. People are involved. The community is involved, and that knowing that these companies are hearing us, you know, this is something that in 2022 we are so lucky that we can do this, right? Back in the 60s, the 50s, you know, prior times. There were people making decisions, and the general people had no input on anything. Nowadays, you can look on any social media and you can see how people feel, what they're thinking. You can see, you know, what their thoughts are, and a lot of these different things. It's really, really important to have these conversations, because that's how things go in the correct direction, right? So yeah, I mean, I love that. I love your analogy there from the quote from
also,
Avatar.
You know, companies are made up of people, right?
Yes.
And people are trying to do the best thing they can. And I think, I totally agree with what you said. It's, you know, it's important that we all voice what we like to see in the world, right? That we're all out there creating. I mean, I think at this point in this industry, we all have a big responsibility to say how we'd like the industry to go. You know, to vote with our dollars, to vote with our voices, and we all have the ability to make whatever, to have a big impact at this moment.
Yeah,
very nice.
You guys hearing that out there?
Yep.
You have the ability to make a big impact at this moment.
Absolutely.
Joanna Popper just told you, and she would know.
So there's a couple things here that before we run out of time that I want to make sure that we touch on. I have a question about HP's vision for the metaverse. Do you guys have plans yourselves as HP, not Hewlett-Packard, sorry, to kind of create and dive more into the metaverse space yourselves by chance?
So, you know, as with all of our big companies, we don't say anything that's not announced. You know, we only talk sort of, you know, about products we've announced and then generally our vision. But I would say, you know, generally, you know, we see these trends as incredibly important. You know, HP has, when you think about, you know, what are people going to be doing in the metaverse, and then how are people today using HP products? So we have our VR products that people are using to connect, collaborate, to learn, to create, and to game in many cases, you know, as well. We have a whole gaming suite that I mentioned earlier. You know, we have our you know, Omen brand, we have our HyperX brand, we have, you know, various other gaming brands and products, and so, you know, we have the Omen Gaming Hub as well, and then the meeting spaces and like the future of work is huge for us. The future of collaboration, that's huge for us. You know, lots and lots and lots and lots of businesses are using HP computers as an integral part to their business, and so, you know, we just announced something called Presence, which, you know, improves upon your collaboration and meeting experience, and so, you know, more to come, I would say, but you know, that's definitely something we're thinking about and building upon in a big way. Awesome.
Very cool.
You got something else over there?
Yeah. So, I mean, I know this is going to get pretty much the same answer, but I just have to ask, right? Does HP have any plans for entering, let's say, the mobile market, maybe with a Reverb G3 or something? And you know, I don't ask this to try to pry information from you, but
mobile, like standalone?
Yeah, like a standalone headset, because I feel like this is kind of where the market's going, right? A bit. And you know, I personally would love to see something like a G3 that you know has an XR2 or something in it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that or anything. That
again, you know, you're going to get the same answer. Like,
right.
You know,
right.
Whether or not we're working on something, we can't comment on any product that we have not announced.
All right.
She told you.
I know.
She told you.
Still gonna ask.
I appreciate the question. I appreciate the question very much.
Absolutely. I do want to bring this back to the Reverb G2, because at the beginning we talked about the G2 and about some of its specs and some of its features, and then we kind of touched on the Omnicept, but we didn't really get to kind of go into it and why it's any different and why anyone would know the difference between an Omnicept and a standard G2. And so I just kind of wanted to throw some of the stuff out there about some of the differences between the Omnicept, because I would imagine people are saying, what's an Omnicept? And what does that matter? Right? So I don't know if you want to go into some of these things, but some of the notes that I have here is that the Omnicept includes pretty much everything that the G2 has, but it also has eye tracking. It has heart rate monitors. It has a face camera to pick up your facial expressions, right? It has a few different features that are a little bit more high end, and as a result, comes with a little bit heftier of a price tag, right? Is this something? This is obviously a super awesome headset, and that I would absolutely love to rock. But is there a reason why a standard consumer might pick one of these up over a regular G2? Have these APIs been implemented into anything that we might know? Is it coming?
I mean, so the way that we think about it is the Reverb G2 is for gamers, consumers, and businesses. It's being used by, if you go on our Reddit or on our Discord, you'll see lots of people using it for, probably people in your audience, like Jansen, who only went to MIT. I'm just, I'm reading some of the comments here. But unfortunate state of affairs, Jansen Fox. But I think that's in reference to what I was saying.
About Harvard.
Just to be clear on that earlier quote, I was quoting from somebody off Twitter. That wasn't actually my, sentence about Harvard and all
You're
of that.
safe here, Joanna.
But so that, and then if you go to LBEs, if you go to Zero Latency, if you go to Dreamscape, if you go to a bunch of but these places, you'll see the Reverb G2 in those places. You'll see it in a lot of different enterprise use cases. Now it's at a price point that is relatively accessible. To enthusiasts, to audiences who want to have that really amazing experience, want to plug it into a PC, want to drive that extra fidelity, have that great audio. That's who that headset's targeted towards. The HP Reverb G2 Omnicept Edition, currently is targeted towards developers, enterprises, academics, academic institutions. Basically, we have three or four different pricing models, business models with it, but it's built for people who want to develop on it, who want to create applications that they then offer to offer out there in the world. So for example, what we do is we build the headset, and so on the hardware side, it has all the great things that the Reverb G2 have, and then it has all the features that you just mentioned. So it adds to it the face tracking, the audio, the pupillometry, and the eye tracking. And then we added in the first SDK package is called Cognitive Load. And so the way we can talk about that is like, imagine we're all in a flight simulation class, and so if a program could be built that would then know if one of us is overwhelmed and one of us is bored, and the one that's overwhelmed would get take down the rain, take down the flock of seagulls go flying at you. The one who's bored would have a thunderstorm or lightning or something, and so the developer, that content would be able to tweak it to get you into that Goldilocks zone, so you're most likely to retain and what you're learning.
Juicy biometric data. Give me that tasty biometrics.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
That's
real.
what it's all about. Exactly. And so Ovation, if you've ever tried that, their platform for public speaking, they build on top of the Omnicept. And so you're able to then, practice your public speaking, and it uses, data from you about how your experience is. So as you're giving your speech, it will well, like I just said, it would track that I said there. It would track whether or not I'm looking around the room and looking at all the different places, and if I'm connecting with the people around the room. If I'm not looking at a certain part of the audience, they'll start looking at their cell phone. The NPCs there, they'll cross their arms, and so and it's also using your experience for that. We have Mimbus, who is doing a training. We have Singularity, who created sort of a future of work experience. We have Thea with Claria, who's doing like that heat mapping, so you know what's popping in a retail experience. And I'm missing a bunch, but those are some examples that have been built.
That's such profound information.
So it's the hardware plus the software, the cognitive load, plus the applications that are being built on top of it. It's being used for wellness. Like there's a lot of different. Cedars-Sinai is using it. The hospital in LA for patients when they're undergoing chemotherapy, to give them, to reduce their pain while they're in there. And so those are like a bunch of different examples that it's being used. Now, I think I've heard that people have used it with Neos. I don't know, if it's like officially supported or what that specifically means.
That makes sense.
I think, people have experimented.
The people. So one of the things that makes Neo so special is anyone can build in it. Anyone can implement hardware for the rest of the community. So as soon as one person gets one of these pieces of hardware, they bring it in and they start bringing in all of the features of this stuff, right? And it's super amazing.
Cool.
So yeah, I think the Omnicept is supported in there, at least to a certain degree.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, if there's people out there that have projects they want to do with Omnicept or G2 that they want to talk to me about it, like, please reach out.
And you can find Joanna's information on the monitor below me here and also in the description. So go ahead and click, connect, and reach out if it's something that
I'm pretty good about answering. And if I don't answer, just write me again.
Cool.
Yeah, write her multiple times. Just continue to bug her until she finally gets back.
I'm sure we all have this. Like, emails eventually get buried, meeting after meeting, Zoom after Zoom, or VR after VR, right? And then you meant to answer and you didn't get to it. But it's not because I didn't want to. Just ping me again.
Yeah, and if you are interested in getting involved in the VR space, you can follow Joanna on Twitter, and she's always posting the hashtag XRJobs, and she's a great resource for that as well. So,
absolutely.
And on top of all of her work with HP, she's just an active member in our VR community. And of course, we are so grateful for that. Maybe one more question before we get rid of you. And I'm just curious, if you had a family member come over who had never been in VR before and you're demoing them, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
What are you going to put them in? What are you going to, what experience?
I went to a meditation retreat over New Year's in Cabo, and
Nice.
I demoed Trip to a lot of people. Also, because it was a meditation retreat. Do you know Trip?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Nanea Reeves and that team. It's a very flow state psychedelic version of meditation, and so people tend to love that.
Trip. So that's your go-to
awesome.
to introduce someone to VR.
Well, that's just that's one example.
That's one example.
But I often do. It depends on who you're demoing to and what you need to show them. There's people for whom, a Baobab piece of content is going to be the most compelling. There's other people that, more like a Beat Saber or Supernatural is going to be more compelling. There's other people, who might want to see one of the festival pieces. So, like a deeper story and a history, or, something that happened. I don't know. It really depends who it is. I was a television marketer for many years. I worked at NBC Universal. And so there's shows that are great, but it's also like, well, what do you like? And then based on what, it's like those Netflix recommendations. Not everyone has the same algorithm, right?
Know your audience.
The same recommendations.
Yep, that's right. Got to know who you're demoing to.
It depends on what you're into. If it's movement, if it's first-person shooter, if it's more flow state, if it's like connecting with another world, it really depends. What's your go-to?
Beat Saber.
Do you have a go-to?
Yeah, the Beat Saber tutorial, hands down. I don't care who you are. That is what I'm putting you in. because in my opinion, it teaches you how to deal with space. You're not encouraged to run around or move. Nothing moves in the environment, so it doesn't make you uncomfortable, and it word for word explains how to interact with the environment. And then as soon as you do that tutorial,
what's the go-to song after you do the tutorial?
I usually will do Beat Saber, the title track, just because I don't know, it's like one of the first ones that I did. But at that point, I don't even care. Like if they were like a big fan of Panic at the Disco, I would let them pick a Panic at the Disco song. The song is less important than it being the tutorial first.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm more along the lines of what you just said, Joanna. When I bring someone over, I put a lot of thought into what games they normally play, what their interests are. And then I kind of try to hit them with something that is, that wouldn't make them motion sick, but give them a good experience for the type of thing, that they like. Now, Beat Saber, for all of the reasons you just said, is a lot of times in that list.
Yeah.
Because it really is a good introduction.
Bills, though, just to put it out there.
$100 bills.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
$100 bills. All right, Joanna. Well, how about you give us some closing thoughts before we kick you off here?
Closing thoughts. Okay. Well, it was great to be here with you. I had so much fun. I guess. So, did you guys get COVID at CES? Was that what I understood?
Yeah,
from
we
the
both
top
got
of
it.
Yeah. A lot of people got that.
Now?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
doing better now?
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear. I'm really glad to hear that. The only other thing I didn't talk about was Brianna's Garden, which is an experience that we premiered last year at Tribeca with Lady Phoenix and Sutu, supported by Metastage and Microsoft and Unity, which is an experience that honors the life of Brianna Taylor, and created together with her family, with Tamika Palmer, her mother, Janiyah Palmer, her sister, and Kenny Walker, her partner, and a lot more to come on that. But we took it recently to Art Basel in Miami. I did not get COVID though, so proud to say that. And just like that experience to me really exemplifies the metaverse conversation in an interesting way, because it brings that experience was made for her family, and like the rest of us have the honor and privilege to also get to be part of it and see it and experience it. But I know there's a lot of conversation, like we know Prince didn't want to be made into a hologram. They still made him into a hologram, but we know he said he didn't want that, right? And there's like a lot of conversation around, when those pass, like, how do we depict them in the digital world? How do we, what is that continued connection? And so this experience, Brianna's sister Janiyah, after she saw it, said she felt like it gave her a way to be with her sister again. And for me, that was like this, we won a ton of awards. We've been on a ton of media, but that like one sentence of her sister saying this experience, gave me a way to be with my sister again is incredibly powerful. And what I think about a lot when I'm thinking about, what are we doing with the power of this technology, and what are we doing with the metaverse?
Wow. And you just scratched the surface of another 90-minute conversation right there. So maybe we can talk more about some of these aspects of our technology when we have the chance to cross paths again, Joanna Popper. So
I would love that. Thank you so much for the invite. Great to
you.
see you all. Please reach out if any questions about anything we talked about today. The HP Reverb G2, HP Reverb G2 Omnicept Edition, or any of the content or anything else we talked about in XR Jobs.
Thank you so much. Everyone, say goodbye to Joanna. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us, and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye, Joanna.
Right, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
And just like that, she is gone forever.
Ooh, evil.
Sorry, I get excited when we kick people off the show.
Oh, geez. Another awesome interview and show in the books.
Yeah, when we started this, we were like, hey, 60 minutes sounds good for today if we have to. 60 minutes is fine. But no, we easily hit 90 here, and we could keep going too. She's a fantastic guest and a lot of fun to talk to. And thank you all so much for being here and joining us live for the broadcast. Short Stack, Chroma Snare, Wolf Raza, Robin, Tribe Grey Wolf. I saw you slide in there while ago. Space Denizen and Mash Daddy Cool and Blizzardo.
So many amazing people in here.
Video games art. What's up, Video Games Art? I saw you were in here as well. Sim Racing Junkie and Jansen Fox, of course. GTGT's dropping comments, and Brand VR is in here. I've been watching Game of Thrones, by the way. Brand is a character in Game of Thrones. Anyway, moving on. Decepticon's been up in here too, as well as Duggars K, and that's about it. That's everybody. Okay?
Thank you guys for coming. It means the world to us. Thank you. Please subscribe as well. We are so close to our next subscription milestone of 2,000. If you could help us out with that, share the video, and just share the love of VR.
Bring all of your friends and family to Between Realities and force them to subscribe and go through
with like a cattle prod.
Our library of videos and like every single video. And then start a playlist, and you start that playlist so it runs all night long. So while you're sleeping, it's just Between Realities crushing your algorithm. Play it 24 hours a day and force your family and friends to do it as well. What are we doing next week?
Next week we have a great guest. Oh, this week, a couple days from now, actually, we have Karem, who is who runs the VRTO convention, which has recently went to Discord online because of COVID and stuff. But this guy knows everything VR, knows all the people, all the stuff, and I think it's going to be a great conversation.
Karem Maliki Sanchez?
Yes, I didn't even attempt. But you did great.
And from a distance.
Yeah.
Too.
You did great.
Well, this will be my introduction to Karem. This is something that you set up that I actually didn't really know about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been able to attend these conferences and watch a lot of the talks and I mean, this guy just is able to put together such an amazing show every year for us all. And I'm just super excited to talk to him.
Sweet. So I guess we'll be learning about VRTO, and we'll be hearing from Karem on Friday. Hussein X and Devin, thanks for flying in here right at the last second. And thank you all again for watching. We will see you on Friday with Karem from VRTO.
All right. See you later, everyone.
Later.
Bye-bye.